everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the Empowered Entrepreneur podcast. Very happy to have you with us today. I'm the host, Amanda Gillespie, and today we have Linda from the Habit Boss on, and we're going to be speaking about her ADHD diagnosis, how she helps her clients, how she helps herself in business to keep good habits, and everything in between. So let's delve right in. Hi, Linda. Thank you for joining me on the Empowered Entrepreneur podcast today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. I do follow your social media, so it's good to actually finally chat to you in person. It's all been messages so
I
far.
know it's funny, isn't that? It's nice to meet people and put a face to a name, but social media has really helped, I think, meeting more interesting people and kind of going across waters and stuff like that. It's been really good.
Yeah, definitely. So no, it's a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you.
So do you want to just introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers, and tell us a brief bit about your business, and then we'll get stuck into the questions.
Yeah, sure. So my business is called The Habit Boss, and it sounds very kind of pretentious and kind of people are kind of habit boss. Who do you think you are? But it's really the whole ethos is bossing habits that suit you. So I think in the whole social media environment, in the entrepreneurial environment, and especially when you're neurodivergent, people tend to take advice off other people or sometimes might be not focused on their own lane. So I'm all about discovering what works for you and really utilizing that and making sure that your energy is aligned and your business is aligned. It stems from a marketing background, a business background in corporate for 15 years, a real ADHD thing in becoming a PT and then a Pilates teacher when I threw in the towel in corporate after I had two kids, and then kind of realizing that I was somewhat fulfilled by teaching and having my own Pilates studio, but business was really where I wanted to be. And I found that I was kind of helping a lot of well-being businesses and a lot of creative businesses. So I stumbled into a business called Corporate to Calm, which was a podcast initially, and then I transitioned to the Habit Boss because the corporate to calm kind of whole ethos was attracting corporate customers.
Okay.
And that's really lucrative, don't get me wrong, but it really wasn't aligned to my values or my journey or where I wanted to go. So the habit
Okay.
boss, yeah, the habit boss kind of fell out of that. And listen, it's a really good SEOable name as well. So yeah, that's where I came from. Here I am.
That's amazing. So you have ADHD yourself, is that
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
What ADHD and thought ADHD
Okay.
because my psychiatrist, he actually is like, he has advised me to go for an autism diagnosis, but I've only got the diagnosis in the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
although it's kind of 6 or 7 years in the making. And I've kind of just been dealing with that more than, kind of processing it and everything like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay for now. I think I'll just kind of manage this side of it. But
Yeah.
I can tell I do take medication, and I
Okay.
find that the medication has obviously really helped my ADHD, and it was such a good partnership with my prescriber. But I have had friends who it hasn't worked straight away and they've had to test and everything like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
my meds have really worked for me. But what I have noticed is that my autistic traits have come out as a
Okay.
like, sometimes people kind of think, oh, your meds are fixing your ADHD, and it's like, no, like they literally work for a certain amount of hours of the day. It's always there.
Yeah, I've heard that it's only so long and then
Yeah.
it sort of wears off.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
just it's like I specifically take them to focus on the business side of my life.
Yeah.
Everything else, I suppose, get enough dopamine out of having to run around after the kids, or if I'm out walking with friends, or that way, or I get enough of a drive from that. But it's really it's really zoning in when I need to, and that's why I take it. But I definitely feel that because I kind of take one that it kind of does kind of quick release to a certain extent, but it kind of releases throughout the day. I
Yeah.
definitely have noticed that my autistic traits have come out a little bit more.
Yeah, well, funny you should say that because my son is diagnosed with ADHD. He's not on medication. They didn't think that was necessary at the moment. And personally, I'm sure you know as a parent as well, you want to try and keep them off stuff as
Yes,
long as you can.
absolutely. My daughter has just been diagnosed as well, so yeah, I can.
Yeah, I mean, don't get
I'm
me
the
wrong,
same.
if
I'm
it
the
was
same.
gonna, like, really help him, 100%,
Yeah,
but yeah, but they also said he shows traits of autism,
yeah,
but we've just to monitor that as he goes and see how it presents because he
yeah,
shows very small traits of it now, but his sister's, on the waiting list to be diagnosed with
yeah.
autism.
And what I found is actually, because my like girls present different. Now, see, it's so generic because they say girls present different than boys, but it's actually everybody presents different to everybody.
Yeah,
Like, we do have this visualization of, the kid running around the classroom and it's a boy running around the classroom. But I have friends and their boys display the same traits as my daughter. It's
okay, yeah.
very internalized. The kind of the running around the classroom goes on in the brain as opposed to
Yeah,
physically.
rather
Yeah,
than
it's
visually.
mentally exhausting. So, it's really bespoke to every kid.
Yeah, and I think that's what people need to remember, like, the stereotypes of the ADHD isn't always just the wee boy running around the classroom.
It's such a stereotype.
It
It's
is,
such a
definitely.
stereotype. And it's like, sometimes it's the most angelic kid in the class that goes home and absolutely causes a riot.
Yeah, I mean, there was kids at school with me that, they were always classed as the troublesome people. Turns out later in life they were, like, diagnosed with ADHD,
Yeah.
and for some reason they used to gravitate towards me to speak to me, like, so I must have always known, like, I must have always gonna be going into some sort of niche with neurodiversity
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think, and
yeah.
do you know what? We attract what we like as well, and what feels safe more
Yeah,
than
well, I
anything else.
think what they used to say to me is that I was quite empathetic and
Mm,
that was at a young age, like,
yeah,
so they were drawn to speak to me and, like, confide in me a little bit,
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah. So, no.
That's
Oh.
really interesting.
I was always destined to have this in my life. To be fair, I apparently present high traits of autism, so I was like,
Listen,
"Lovely."
it comes
That
from somewhere.
explains a lot.
It comes from somewhere.
It
Not
definitely explains things.
not paracetamol, as some people would have you believe, but
Oh, don't even. When that come out, I was like, "Really? Are you really gonna try this?"
yeah, yeah. Like, seriously, I mean, anyway.
So we'll get stuck into some of the questions. Just
Yeah.
because what I like to do with the podcast is try and keep it as much as possible to the 30
Yeah,
minutes.
let's do that. Let's fire on
Um,
then.
just because I know that people watching probably have a limited
Yeah.
attention, like,
And let's,
even as I do.
that's it. Same, same.
So your business is all about habits.
Yes.
How has your own ADHD influenced the way you approach building and maintaining the habits for you and for your clients?
I suppose the biggest thing is that it's habits and systems to a certain degree. And like, early on, I realized that I suppose moving from corporate in about 2015 or so, I realized that I do love habits, but it's the consistency in maintaining the habits. And it's like the guilt of not doing it one
Mhm.
day, because we give ourselves such a hard time. I mean, the statistics are out there. I think it's something like an ADHD kid gets criticized 20,000 more times than their neurotypical counterpart in their childhood. And it's just, you're always kind of have that niggling, I'm in trouble kind of
Mhm.
vibe in your gut. And it's like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes, habits kind of exacerbate that and everything. And I found that five habits that kind of really stuck out for me in business and personally were like getting up a little bit earlier. And I know, like, a lot of people give me grief when I put social media out about this, because it's like I can't get out of bed and everything, and I hate it. I'm a bed monster. I will stay there all day. But if I am in such a good routine,
Hmm.
I can, get out of bed and maximize the day, and it's really nice. But then once I stop, and I could stop for a couple like of weeks, and
Yeah.
it's understanding the forgiveness of letting yourself do that as well. Do you know
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah.
Because it's different for everybody. The other one is like drinking water. We always forget to drink loads of water, and
Yeah.
I just think, honestly, I just think that, like, I love a fizzy as somebody with kind of, sensitivities to I love a fizzy drink,
Yep.
and I'm like, have my fizzy, but actually have a couple of waters alongside it as well. So I'm a big advocate for drinking water, and then moving with joy. Because what I found, as somebody who kind of tires of things, I can get into such a, habitual mode for movement or exercise, and then I'm like, oh, do I really want to get up? And it's really understanding that the movement is the habit, not actually what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of, giving yourself grace that you don't have to go to the gym, 3 or 4 times a week. Maybe one week you do two, one week you do one, or, find a class
Yeah.
that you
Absolutely.
really
Yeah.
love. Yeah,
Yeah.
and do it with friends, rope other people in, because accountability, if you have somebody, I know that there's a couple of people on social media, they call it doubling. So if you've
Mhm.
somebody actually doing it with you, you're
Yeah.
far more motivated to go and do it. And I always find that if you are looking for that motivation to get out of bed earlier, like putting some time in the diary with somebody for a walk, or booking a class early in
Yeah.
the
I
gym.
definitely agree with
Yeah,
accountability is key
yeah.
for most things in life, to be
For
fair.
100%, 100%. And really, then, like, the fourth one there was kind of a gratitude journey. And I know that, like, I am very quite a cynical person, and I do see a lot of things in black and white. And I suppose over the last 10 years I've tended to kind of look more down a spiritual route and a well-being route, and really kind of embrace a little bit of woo-woo in my life. I'm not religious, but I do think that there's, certain things align in your life at the right times. And
Yeah. Definitely.
gratitude can be literally like, you look down and there's like a pair of boxers on the floor, and you're like, oh, don't I, haven't I so grateful that I have a partner that I can pick these boxers up with? Don't mean that, but it's kind of, some days you could be stretching and you could be pulling, but I really think that, it's simple things that keep you kind of locked into the now. Because sometimes I don't know how you feel about this, or if you've spoken to anybody. Sometimes I feel when you're on this journey as a neurodivergent, you can be seeking better all the time,
Yeah.
instead of kind of just looking at what's around you now and kind of knowing this is your time, and
Yeah.
maybe that could be, a general thing as well, that we always just looking ahead rather than just kind of sitting with ourselves and going, actually, it's a
Yeah.
good time now, you know?
Yeah. No, I've had a lot going on personally this year. Obviously, we won't delve into that, but it has made me really look at things and think, what am I grateful for?
Yeah,
Um, because there's just so many things that probably took for granted.
yeah,
And so without going into it, but it was a separation,
yeah.
and not being able to see, well, at the time when we first separated, not being able to see my kids every single day because we were splitting the,
Which is, I
yeah,
mean,
like,
that can bring you, that's a reality check in
yeah,
itself,
yeah. So I do think gratitude is a big thing for me now. I'm
Yeah,
always thinking, like, because anytime they go and see their dad, I miss them like so,
of
so much.
course.
And it's
Yeah,
like, it's funny because before, when I used to send them to the grandparents so that I could have a date night or something, it would be like, "Woohoo, no kids."
yeah,
But now it's very much like, "Oh, no kids."
yeah, yeah.
But
And
then I
it's,
have to also step out and go, "Well, actually, I am grateful for a little bit of space
because
as
that's the
well."
thing, because, there's so many people who might be in that situation, and they have, you know, not the support maybe of,
Mhm.
the kids going somewhere. And then it's like, oh my God, where do I find time to
Yeah,
just, wash my hair, or have,
yeah. So
that,
for me,
you
it's now
know,
balancing that,
yeah,
missing them, but
yeah,
also, but and being grateful for them in my life, even though I've always
absolutely.
been that way. But I think you do kind of just, oh, your kids are there, you know.
Yeah,
You can spend time with
100%.
them as much as you want, and then when something like that happens, you realize, oh wow, I've not got this all the time with them anymore,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And you know, it really, I suppose from that example, it's like not taking things for granted as well really helps with that gratitude journal because, or a gratitude journey. And because I don't journal, it's one thing. Everybody's like, oh, journal. I'm like, I just can't. I
I
don't.
love the idea of it, and I
Yes.
start them and then I stop.
Yeah. And I just found that I was kind of feeling shame by not carrying it on. Do you know that way?
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah.
you know what?
My
That just,
daughter started doing it,
yeah,
and it's actually helping her communicate better because
that's
she's not
brilliant.
non-verbal, but
Yeah,
she doesn't communicate as much as we would probably like her to.
yeah, yeah.
But she has started doing it with me, so it's like a mum-daughter thing.
Which is nice because then you
Again, it's
can,
accountability.
yeah,
Like,
and
the daughter needs to do it.
because it's funny. My daughter started writing down how she wears her hair to school since the
Mhm,
new, and then I was like, well, if you're doing that, I said, why don't you write down a word of how you felt today?
mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yep.
because you
Yeah,
know
that's
the
what she's
whole,
doing as well, it's
yeah,
very
and
similar, yeah,
because the thing about it is, if you sit down and you have to write a paragraph on today, that can be really overwhelming. But actually, if it's
yeah,
just one word, then it's like, okay, I can kind of
yeah,
deal with that, and I
yeah,
can use that. Um, from there, the last one, and I just think it's probably the most important was for me was letting go of stuff. And I always say this to my clients that if they can't let go of something, if they can't let go of a situation, that they really should speak to a professional because, you know, I'm all about mental health and I've qualifications in well-being, but I haven't got qualifications in the human mind. You know, I can
yeah,
help you, you know, as far. And I'm just like, if you really are struggling to let a situation go or something like that, that's when, you know, a professional has to come into it. But like,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
letting go of conversations because I do think we have a tendency to overplay conversations and you're like, oh my God. And letting all that go has really helped. And I think it's a combination of the diagnosis and meds and not really masking who I am anymore either, you know, to us, like, yes, we still, I think we're all still a little chameleon like, but you know, it's really a case of, I honestly do not care what you think about me. So
Yeah.
it's
It's taken
I'm
me a
okay
long
with that.
time to get there. I'm
Yeah.
an overthinker, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
although my mind management coach will tell me off for saying that I am an overthinker. I was
yeah.
previously an overthinker, I still do it from time to time, but
But I think that there's innate things in our personality that we can't really change, you
yeah.
know? And it's like if you're an overthinker, it's like maybe overthink good times rather than dwell on bad, you
Yeah,
know, that way. It's like maybe
yeah,
shifting it around because
yeah,
I know for me that, you know, people talk about sleep patterns with ADHD. I only sleep when I'm exhausted. Like, you know, I'll sleep really well if you know, I'm physically exhausted. But
mhm,
if I'm happy, I don't really sleep. If I'm
yeah.
sad, I don't really sleep because if I'm happy, I'm kind of thinking about, oh, this life is lovely. You know, so people can, it's not about sometimes worrying about stuff. It's about being
Yeah,
excited about the future as well. So it's, you know, it's whatever kind of
yeah.
works more than anything. But those five habits, they really, you know, they really kind of set the scene and set the tone from the start of the business. And then it really progressed into, you know, helping people with their confidence and helping people from a mindset perspective. But then really the feedback I was getting was I'm one of these, I think Maria Forleo said it, everything is figure outable. And I am one of these is like, give me a problem and I will solve it. Maybe not my own problems, but everybody else's I'll solve, no bother. And I just have helped a lot of my clients with their systems in their business. And I suppose that's habitual as well.
Yeah,
And I really found that, you know, ADHD clients kind of gravitated towards me. I have a coaching qualification in ADHD, but there was a lot of creatives who, I mean, I don't think that's kind of a coincidence either. You know, a lot of
mhm.
creatives are possibly neurodivergent as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, you see it all the time,
Yeah, yeah,
particularly in the business world as well, like, like, usually I would say most business owners are probably
yes.
somewhere
And,
on one.
and sometimes it's not necessarily, you know, they mightn't necessarily be creatives or anything like that, but it
Yeah,
was just, I just kind of realized that okay, they weren't getting the confidence journey or the clarity journey. They might have been going to they might have been doing life coaching or whatever, and they
Yeah,
might have been taking that box over there. But actually, the added value that I could give was that we could figure out systems that helped your helped you feel less hustly more than anything else. And that's how kind of the calm business method came about, and creating these calm systems, because it was really to move everything from the creative entrepreneur's head onto paper, onto systems, because
yeah,
I've worked with people, and they mightn't have a list, they mightn't have say an email list. And I'm like, where's your email list? Oh, it's on paper, different sheets of paper in my office.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, oh my God, like how easy would it be to transfer that to, sheets or an Excel or whatever. So
yeah, absolutely.
and it can stem from a very new business to people that have been in business 4 and 5 years, and people that have really cracked social media,
Hmm.
and I have clients that might have 500,000 followers across social media platforms, might have 1 million followers across social media platforms, but it was the translation of what they were doing on social media to the conversion stage. So the gap of maybe they, they might have a free course, say, but the
Yeah,
free course wasn't getting into potential clients' hands.
okay.
And we were able to fix that by employing systems such as like ManyChat or Flowdesk. And it was really, like one particular client I have in mind, and them telling me I'm spending so long replying to DMs and everything. And I'm like,
Yeah,
why haven't you got your automatic message on your Instagram?
yeah.
It, you know,
Oh,
and why?
tell me about it. It's like it's what I do for my clients,
Yeah,
like because I'm sitting answering their stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually I was mentoring a group of creatives there a couple of weeks ago. There's about 50 people on the call, and somebody was like, people have said that really annoys them when it pops up, the automatic message on Instagram. And I was like, what people? Oh, my friends and family. And I was like, are they buying off you? And she was like, no. I was like,
Exactly. Yeah.
why do you care what they think? Do you know what I mean? Why do
Yeah.
you tell them to unfollow you if that's annoying you?
Yeah.
Because sometimes like people get so caught up in these vanity metrics,
Hmm.
of follows and everything, when it's like you could have 1,000 followers and 300 or 400 customers.
Yeah.
You could have 1 million followers and no customers.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's like what are your what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to have a million people on your social media, or do you want to have a small amount and be turning over a really healthy revenue?
Yeah. I
It's
think that's what people do need to keep in mind that sometimes, like you say, you could have all those followers, but they're just not translating into
no, no,
the end
and
sales or
yeah,
buyers.
and I suppose what I was helping the kind of more established businesses was to bridge that gap and to
Yeah.
get, that client that I mentioned, they had a wreath making, they're a business, floral business school, and they
Yeah.
had like a free course, and we put it out there, and in I think it was 36 hours they had 5,000 people look at it,
Okay.
and something like I think it was 1,500 or 2,500 sign up,
Okay. Yeah.
and it was they've a very like big email list, but it was a case of they got at the end of, like, say that was about 2 weeks ago, we
Hmm.
generated about 2,000 new email addresses. So not people that
Okay.
had been there before,
Yeah. That's good.
but knew from, and
Yeah.
it took so much, replying back, or, just to have that link
Yeah.
there, or just to have, the DM coming from ManyChat. And yeah, I speak to so many people, and they don't understand what they're paying for monthly, or they don't do a systems recce. And I'm sure you'd be like that with clients as well. And it's
Yeah.
like, I did forgot that was, I signed up to the free trial of that, and that was 6 months ago, and I'm
Yeah.
paying for this. And I'm like, but if you cancel that and pay for this,
Then
you know,
it'll so much
it
smoother and like it'll work for you.
yeah, yeah. So that's one of the first
Yeah.
things I get my clients to do. And, if anybody's listening, do it now. Don't wait to hire somebody to tell you to do it. Do it
I
now.
know. Yeah.
Look at what's going out of the bank every month, because, you know, we do have a habit of shiny new things and then going, oh shit, I meant to cancel that. Like,
Oh yeah, like there's a lot of time I diarise it. Like if I'm gonna cancel it, I put it in my diary to say, remember to cancel by this date.
and do you know what the really funny thing is? Is that I do that, and I previously had done that, and now I just cancel because they do actually give you the grace up until you've paid. So I
Mhm.
found that I was kind of kept missing that deadline. And I
Yeah,
went in like, I was like, "Do you know what? I don't care if I miss out on 2 weeks of this, because I'm just cancel it." And then I was like, oh, this will be cancelled in 2 weeks' time. I was like, oh my God, I've done it. And I still benefit from the
yeah,
extra 2 weeks I didn't have to do,
yeah,
but then I've gone to cancel things, and it's like, we'll give it to you for half nothing. So I go to
yeah.
camp, and I was like, oh my God, okay, there,
I'll
shiny
just
new
tell you I'm
thing.
cancelling all the time.
Shiny new thing, I'll do it again, but
Obviously, I sign up to quite a few things. If it's something my client uses, but I've maybe not used
yes,
or maybe not used for a long time, so I do tend to sign up to some trials just
yeah,
to test it out before I start doing work
yeah.
with them.
Well,
Yeah,
one thing that, one system that I use, and I'd highly recommend anybody using it from an email perspective, is Flowdesk, because it's one of the only systems out there that still hasn't capped emails and subscribers, and it's going to cap them at the end of November.
okay.
So if anybody, if anybody was kind of looking at their
Mhm.
emails, because a lot of the bigger companies, they'll start charging if you kind of hit 1,500
Yeah,
subscribers, they'll start charging per subscriber, or there's a band of
yeah,
subscribers. I worked with a client that, they were paying an extra, I actually think it was about an extra 100 quid a month for extra capacity for their emails. It was with their website, and
yeah.
they were paying an extra 100 and still had 50,000 email capacity, and they had 10,000 subscribers, so that was only 5 emails a month that they could send, and they
Wow.
were paying an extra 100 quid.
Oh
and
dear.
and I moved them to Flowdesk and ManyChat, and they saved 60 quid a month, and then are able to send as many mails as they want.
Well, that's much better, isn't it?
Like, sometimes it's just sitting down and actually going through, do I really need this? Or,
Yeah,
because there's plenty of people that come to me and it's like, I've been told I need a website. I'm like, well, maybe you only need a landing page, or maybe you just
yeah,
need a cover website for now, and don't get bogged down in the things that I always call it, like the fluffy stuff. Don't get bogged down in the nice fluffy stuff. Work with things that you can, send them a link, or you can, because that's what's key. I
yeah.
think,
No, I would agree with that.
working with your own real estate, a blog can, like, transform things as well. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
absolutely.
working with what you own as a part, as opposed to being, I mean, how many times are they going to change an algorithm on Instagram or TikTok, and you're like, oh my God, here we go again?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to keep up with sometimes.
Really hard, really hard.
So no, so that's amazing. That's really good habits that and ways, systems and things that you put in
Yeah, yeah,
place.
it really
That's
can help, really can help.
yeah, no, that is amazing. So I think everyone should be taking your tips and going and getting a bit more organized after this. So moving on to our next one, what are some of the habit related challenges you see in people with ADHD? Um,
Definitely the head full of ideas and not figuring out a place to start, and then writing it down and forgetting where you've written it down, and the whole thing of you. I I would say that, my own business, I had this concept 4 or 5 years ago, and I, did the brief 4 or 5 years ago, and then I did it again 3 years ago, and then I did it again,
Yeah,
and it's always like the same things will always keep cropping up, and it's basically finding a space where you can keep everything together, because we do have that habit of putting it down in one journal, and then the next week you're
yeah,
starting it, like, not to, and not in a journally way, but in a business
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
and we put it in one thing, and then we don't put. And the best thing I can advise anybody is, like, when you're starting, create a filing system that works for you, and sit down with somebody, create names, in the sense that if it's a client, have that folder, client name, date, or whatever it is, because,
yeah,
like, there's a statistic floating around. I think it was one of the universities in the States, that we can spend, not even as neurodivergent, we can spend 9 hours looking for files a week.
yeah.
Photographs,
I
files,
100% believe that. 'Cause obviously part of my job is going in and helping people organize their inboxes.
like,
So, when some inboxes I've seen, I mean, wow.
yeah,
I'm like, "How have you ever found something?"
yeah,
Some
uh,
people's aren't that bad, they just need a little bit of help just
yeah.
to get that bit more organized, but
But
oh,
I
wow.
think that if it is something you struggle with, bring somebody in to do it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Bring it, like, anybody can come in and sort that out, but it's maintaining it,
yeah,
because sometimes I really think that, I know from, this will probably annoy a few people, but I know from an Irish perspective, we have such, sometimes our worth is quite low, in the sense of spending money on ourselves and spending money on our business.
mhm,
And, I have so many people, and they come, oh, maybe, maybe in a couple of months' time, or maybe in, and I will always give the options of, I can do it for you. I can get somebody to maintain it. I can build you a strategy. I can do it once and then show you how to do it. I can,
yeah,
because obviously the maintenance is the easiest part. But it's, no, actually, it's not the easiest part. It is an easy task, but it's the hardest part, obviously, being consistent with that
yeah, of
maintenance.
course, yeah,
But it's really looking again at what is worth your time. What is worth, you know, are you better off spending time, a couple of times a month, attending networking events, going online, and doing personal development and learning, rather than trawling through your email box trying to sort that out, where you come in, Amanda, and you go, got that done in, an
yeah,
hour, where it
yeah,
could take somebody 3 days to a week to sort it
yeah,
out. And it's like, wouldn't that be better, that you're growing your business, right?
yeah.
And we're working on the actual business, instead of in kind of
Yeah, well, that's
solitude.
the big sell I try and say to people when I am talking to clients that are maybe looking to come on is you're better to be working on your business rather than
Absolutely.
in your business. So,
100%. It's
yeah,
and it's only, I actually think that, especially for women, I think that, and it's not to say that men get it quicker. I just think that men are probably lazy. They probably will throw money at it quicker. Do you know what I mean? Not that they
yeah.
get it quicker, they'll throw money at it quicker. Whereas we do tend to think that we can figure it all out and we can do it all.
Yeah,
And it's like, no, we can't. Like,
yeah,
the one thing that I sit down with my clients, and I'm like, right, where do you see not where do you see yourself, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? It's next year, where do you see yourself? What do you want to be
yeah,
doing? What do you, and a lot of them, the a lot of the female entrepreneurs want to be spending more time with their family. That's
yeah.
what they're
So they
ultimately
need to
doing.
stop being working in the business. They need to be
That's
take
it.
they need to be delegating or hiring potentially.
Exactly. And it's like when somebody realizes that,
Mhm.
it's like it's like fireworks go off in their head, because then they continue, because the more, it really is kind of a snowball cycle. I find the more you spend on your business, sometimes the more revenue you're generating, because
Yeah,
you are delegating those tasks that are take up quite a lot of time and are not in your wheelhouse. They're not
Yeah,
in your
to be fair,
expertise.
I've found that recently. I've spent a little bit of money, like, with a business consultant,
Yeah,
and she's helped me do my rebrand. She's just helped me so much just to, like, start bringing more things in, and I had an amazing, lead come in this week from, it's not like an A-list celebrity, but they are a known comedian in Scotland.
amazing.
So, um, I don't know how well known, but they are, like, they are known, and because
Yeah.
they do a lot of wrestling commentary and stuff like that for things. So, like, I was like, "You know what? Even if I don't get that bit of business, which I would love to get, I'm just so happy that that's got to that person and they're interested."
Because they've seen, but and that's the thing. It's like that, that thing I said earlier on about the message. Oh, that annoys people, and it's like you. Some people have to see your face or your message like 30 or 40 times before
Yeah,
they
there's so many
actually.
touch points before
There's
you.
Yeah, like people say the average is like there is averages out there, but some
Mhm.
people need a
Yeah,
lot more to trust you. They
yeah,
really do, and it's like
and not to
keep
mention,
doing it.
as a mum
Yeah,
yourself, when you see something on your phone, you'll look at it, you go, "Oh, that's cool," and then you'll put it down because 'cause you've got to go and deal with the kids. And then it'll be maybe another few days later, and then you'll see that, "Oh, I meant to go and look more into that,"
yeah.
and then something again will happen. So, yeah,
That's so, and that is really one of the cruxes with creative businesses, because I will work with makeup artists, and I will work with therapists, and it sounds like such a, but even a hairstylist or a florist for a wedding, and
yeah,
then maybe a therapist who you're seeking instant advice, instant kind of, I
mhm,
want to, whether or not you can reply to them physically instantaneously. You remove all that when you put automation in,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
all of a sudden people know it's automation, they get that, but they have acted. If you've sent them a link, and a lot of my clients, I will just set them up with Google Docs,
Yep,
and you can put a payment link in Google Docs.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know, people don't it's the simple things. It's like you don't have to have this whole kind of payment platform set up. You can put a Revolut clickable link in
yeah.
there. There's so many ways you can get around these things. And sometimes I think they're just barriers that were kind of popping up. We're kind of
Yeah,
we put them there ourselves subconsciously. It's, oh, I can't sell. It's like, actually, yeah, you can.
yeah,
You can just have this
absolutely.
page and you can do it. So I think that it's getting over the challenge of starting and the challenge of continuing, because
Yeah,
you know we have that ability to procrastinate. We have that ability to stop ourselves in our own tracks and question our ability, when actually we know we don't need another qualification, we don't need any more experience, we're right for this, and we can do it. But sometimes it is just, maybe you just need your hand held for the first few months,
yeah,
and get it done, and understanding your energy as well, understanding that, okay, your capacity like is that, and your
mhm,
energy goes up and down with this capacity. So it's really understanding that, you know what, that networking event is like in week 4 of my cycle, and
mhm.
I'm in the luteal stage, and I fucking hate the world, and I think the world hates me. So maybe a networking event isn't the
The
best,
best place for you.
and it's like, actually the best time for a networking event is when you're mid-ovulation, because
Yeah.
you're most social midway through your menstrual cycle as well.
Okay,
Which
that
is,
makes sense. I do weekly networking, so that all now makes sense.
yeah, and it's like, and if you want to show people how dynamic you are, day 6 to 14, your follicular stage, you are
Yeah,
an absolute powerhouse. So
yeah,
it's actually understanding our internal energy and working events and working things out around that, because it's, we don't have to go with the flow. We don't have to be in a society and you know work within something that really wasn't built for us. It
yeah,
wasn't. We have to create our own kind of environment to work
yeah.
within as well.
Okay. No, that actually is quite interesting because there is times where I'm at networking and I feel way more sociable than others, and other times
Yeah.
where I'm like, and I suppose we all have those days.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I could be anywhere else, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously, the networking I go to is weekly, and it's keeps you accountable. It's what we
Definitely.
talked about
Definitely.
earlier. So yeah, so I do have to go, otherwise I have to send a sub. I'm also
Yeah.
part of the leadership team as of tomorrow.
That's good though. That's challenging yourself.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be challenging. No, so but no, there is definitely times where you could be like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
If you could give one piece of advice to a neurodivergent business owner, trying to create habits that they would actually stick to, what would it be?
I think probably a summary of what I've said is
Yeah,
that go to your own pace. Like my mantra, and it has been for about 4 or 5 years, is my pace, my serenity. So stop looking at what everybody else is doing, and that's
stop
like
comparing.
we hear that so often, but actually it's very hard to do it, to implement it in your life, because not only is it like the thief of joy, it's the thief of time. You don't know what's going on in the background. You don't know if that person, what connection that person has to, you don't know, are they being paid? Are they not being, there's so many different angles to other people's businesses that I
Yeah.
just like. I was on my own a mentoring course last night, actually with my own business mentor,
Hmm.
and there was like 4 or 5 people just talking about competitor analysis. And
Hmm.
I'm like, why do you care about? Like, I understand that if you are entering the market, and you're going to like rock the world with a new product
Hmm.
or whatever. I get that competitor analysis. I get that you do have to be aware. But I really think as, ADHD business owners, as creative business owners, a lot of what we provide to people, and whether that's a service, whether that's, you know, tangible, is ourselves.
Yeah.
And they're buying off you. It's not
Yeah.
necessary, you could have two quotes for something, and it comes down to the likability of the person and the trustability of the
Absolutely.
person.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a brief stint as doing a photography, having a photography business. It was really successful, but didn't fit around the kids because it was wedding photography. And um, with that, I've lost my train of thought there.
The,
This is live, everyone.
the
See?
comparison, the comparison, the
Oh yeah,
comparison.
yeah.
Yes,
The
yes.
comparison. Yeah. Sorry. So even there, like I didn't care what my competitors were doing.
No?
I would sometimes have a wee nosy at their page just to see like
Yeah,
maybe what I should price my Christmas shoots
yeah.
at. What's the kind of going rate this year? But yeah, I didn't really. And the same in this business actually. I done a little bit of research before starting the business, before doing my VA stuff. But I also thought I know there's a market for it. I know what I'm doing. I
Mhm.
don't need to keep comparing myself to others.
And I think as well, like I think for a variety of businesses, that sometimes we start looking, and then you start looking at price, and sometimes when you do comparison, you're just like fighting each other to the bottom, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, actually create your own price, what
Know
you
your
align
worth.
with, what
Know your yeah.
yeah, exactly, and what aligns with you, and what you really believe that you are worth as well.
Yeah, because you know
And
what you bring to the table,
a
you know?
100%, 100%. And I will always, like, if somebody comes back to me and said, oh, the price doesn't quite, I will never reduce my price, but I will reduce the service I give, and
Yeah,
maybe bring it to another price. I think there's always room to move, but
yeah. That's the type of thing I've done. I won't
yeah,
reduce it, but I will say, "Well, I could offer this
yeah, let's
instead."
cut the
You know?
meetings in half. Let's,
Yeah,
do something that can kind of bring them on board, because I think essentially, as like neurodivergent people, and whether it's ADHD or ADHD or whatever, we want to help people and we feel bad when we can't help people. But
Yeah.
I do think that we have to be wary of that, because sometimes, because we want to provide those solutions so badly, we do neglect, we do kind of forget that, we have to make money as well. We have
Yeah.
to, and I do a thing with my, like, on my course, and my signature course, the Can Business Method, and within my own one-to-one clients, I have a time audit created.
Okay.
And like, I had one client and they were working for, I think it was 10 euros an hour. When they brought it down to what they were spending time
Mhm.
on. And I think when you're creative, that sometimes you forget that the creative side of the job is labor as well.
Yeah,
So
and that was like that with the photography because I had so many of my competitors that
yeah,
were anyone with a camera thinks they're a photographer
yeah.
these days. Sorry guys, don't come for me with that. But no, they do, and it's like, well, no, like I am worth this. So it was so scary to put up my price
Yeah,
because all my competitors were lower for weddings,
yeah.
and but then I saw all these other businesses charging quite a high price,
Yes,
and I'm like, well, maybe if I go somewhere in the middle,
yeah.
then that is better because I hated the whole overcharging for weddings.
I know what you mean, because
That
it's
doesn't
like,
align with me.
yeah, yeah, because it's
Um,
a certain event kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
but
yeah.
equally, I think people forget, especially with creative stuff, it's not, I don't just come and point and click. There is a skill behind
No,
that, and there's
no.
editing time behind that.
Yeah. And
You know,
there's finding the right light, there's finding the right angle, there's
yeah,
working with people that can be very difficult as well. And I think that what in other spaces, that, saying no to people as well, that, not taking certain events on because
yeah.
that your values don't align with
I've
the
done that
people.
with I've done
Yeah,
that with this as well. I turned away quite a big bit of business,
yeah.
because I just knew that we wouldn't align right,
And I think that's one of the
and that was so scary.
bravest. I know, but it's so brave. Like, it's so brave to go, no, I actually can't, I can't work with you. And because, we want to build businesses that align with our values and our really ourselves at the end of the day, and we know what aligns because you can feel it in your stomach,
Yeah,
what aligns with you. You totally can. And like, it's really, the biggest piece is really like just focusing on your journey and focusing on your energy and your ability to deliver,
yeah,
and really understanding when, like, we didn't all kind of create businesses to work on them 24/7 as well.
mhm,
And I think that we have this thing in us. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm
yeah,
so, I have created a space where I am very rarely tired because
yeah,
I work to my own hours. Like, my husband is in the office 2 days out of 5, and that's only a relatively new thing. So he brings the kids to school, I collect them, I do homework. We have kind
mhm,
of a balanced thing going on, but
yeah,
I get enough sleep at night. I don't work on things when if I don't want to at that point in time.
yeah,
I do still need, like, I mean, I think that's always going to be a part, that I do sometimes still need the deadline and the kind of urgency to get things across the line. And that's something I embrace now instead of shying
yeah,
away from,
yeah.
because I would have always been felt like, oh, I've left this till the last minute again. And it's like, no, I do have so many systems in place that a lot of things aren't left to the last minute. But sometimes it's a little rush to get something over the line for a deadline as well.
Oh, we've all done that.
you know, so
Even I've
it,
done that in the past.
yeah. And I think that the more that you invest in, you know, developing your content system, developing, I'm not a big scheduler of content or anything like that, because it doesn't get the traction that organic content, if you post and stuff. But I do believe in static posting scheduling static posts. Like if you've got, inspirational quotes or carousels or,
Yeah.
and you can, I mean, there's tools out there like that you can schedule like 500 or 600 posts at one time across different platforms, and
Yeah.
people just aren't aware of those tools, and
Yeah.
it's
Oh
like
no, I know
you're going into
that.
every single platform, and it's like actually you could just
Yeah.
create a file, upload it, and press a button, and it's gone. But
It's so
I
much
think,
easier when you're doing it that way.
I think it's just getting the point of direct, getting the direction and the roadmap to start the file and understand how. And sometimes it's just like I will give a file to my clients and it's populated,
Mhm.
but I'll say just populate over it with your information. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because sometimes people don't know if they're looking at a blank document, they just don't know where things
Where
should
to,
fit in. But
yeah.
if you give them that guide, it's absolute gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. Well, just to wrap up, one thing that I ask all the guests on the podcast is what's the one word that comes to mind when you think about neurodiversity?
Do you know what? I thought about this for a long time, and the one word that came to my head was freedom,
Okay, that's
really.
amazing.
And it was, yeah, I think just the freedom to create your own space and your own journey and everything like that. And I think because I just think that it's not a negative thing, but I just don't think it's a huge, people, oh, it's a superpower, oh, it's this. And I'm a big believer that it's not a huge superpower because, a lot of the time you don't feel 100% or, you're not
Yeah,
that
yeah,
positive person. But I do think that when you embrace it, you can work it for you. And I definitely think it just offers you a freedom to actually be who you are always meant to be. But
yeah.
you
That's
just,
lovely.
yeah, you just didn't realize it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
essentially, as somebody with ADHD, there was nothing wrong. There was just gaps in your executive function. There was gaps in your brain, and your brain didn't develop like, your people's brains are meant to develop by 25, which is
mhm,
still like a huge, you're an adult at 25
yeah,
and brain has a, somebody who has ADHD, it's an average of 35 years of
mhm,
age when their brain develops. And, some people have 17, 15-year-olds at 35 and their brain is fully developed. And so you have to kind of embrace that as well and understand that I'm 46 and it's nobody's fault that I wasn't diagnosed till 2 years ago. It's
yeah,
nobody's, it's just understanding that we're all where we are now and nobody
yeah.
else, there's not a huge amount of people extra getting diagnosed. It's just we're aware of it. This whole thing is everybody's a little bit, no, they're not. They're not. Because if everybody was, we'd be in a society that worked for neurodivergent brain.
Well, this is true, and it's definitely not set up for the neurodivergent
No,
brain. I can
no.
see that from my kids
Yeah.
trying to navigate the education system.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. And it's like, yeah. And I mean, and this sounds totally off. My kid's 11 and she's, 2 years away from high school or secondary school. And her teacher gave her this thing to fix her handwriting because she doesn't hold her pen properly. And I was like, no, she's a great script and a great writer. We're
Yeah.
not going to be working on like trying to put her hands in place to
Okay.
hold the pen. I was like, that ship has
Yeah.
sailed, buddy.
Yeah, like that. If that was going to be corrected, that would have been a long time ago.
Yeah. And let's not criticize somebody who has really good writing for how they're holding a pen.
Yeah. No.
Bizarre.
Uh, no. Well, thank you so much, Linda, for joining me. It's been
Yeah, and I
an
hope
absolute
it's probably
pleasure.
gone over. Maybe we'll need to do two parts in the,
Yes.
break it up into two parts.
I know I've been thinking about that recently. I was like, should I start doing them in two parts?
Yeah, yeah, maybe we will. But if there's I have a couple of things that I can provide for ADHD entrepreneurs as well. I can send you the links if you want to look them in.
That's amazing, and I will for everyone watching, I will post all your links in the description as well,
Cool.
so that people can
Thanks a
follow
million,
you.
Amanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.